Welcome back. When we left off, we were talking about the rules that need to be followed when we do any of the four electron configurations. Electron configurations is just a general term for showing where electrons could be found, particularly when using the quantum mechanical model of the atom, which has electrons being placed not only on levels but in sublevels. The four that we learned about were orbital notation, which uses boxes or lines to represent the orbitals, and they actually have arrows. Electron configuration is an electron configuration that is a shortened version of orbital notation. So the general term is electron configuration, but one of them happens to be called an electron configuration. Electron configuration. Noble gas notation, also called compressed or condensed electron configurations, is a shortened version of the electron configuration. And then the fourth one is the shortest of all. It's called a Lewis dot diagram. But there were rules to follow. And one of the rules said that we have to fill the lowest energy level sublevel available. And this is called Aufbau's order of filling. Aufbau is a German word meaning building up principle. So, where would electrons go first according to this rule? They would fill the 1s first. That total energy of the 1s is 1. How did we do the energy? You take the first number, which is the energy level number, that's n, and you add it to the number that's associated with the sublevel. When you're in the s, the energy was 0, so 1 plus 0 is 1. And they are going to continue filling up the various energy levels and sublevels, going by which has the lowest energy first. Again, adding the first number, which is n, and the second number, which is an L, and you're supposed to use a cursive L here. What happens when we're on the third level? It's very interesting. An electron, the first level's full and the second level's full, both the 2s and the 2p. So an electron is now on the third level. What would it fill first? It would fill the 3s first. Its energy is 3. Then it would fill the 3p next, because when you're in the p sublevel, the energy is 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. But we already learned that the third level has additional sublevel. The third level has the d sublevel. What's the energy of the 3d? Well, when you're in the d, the energy is 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. On the fourth level, if an electron was going to be in the 4s, remember with s, the second number is 0. 4 plus 0 is 4. So what does this mean? Electrons will fill the 3s. According to Aufbau, they'll then build up and fill up the 3p. Then they actually fill up the 4s before filling up the 3d. Now, you will not have to memorize the orders that they get filled. What you will have to do know is how to calculate how much energy they are. You will be reminded that the S sublevel has an energy of 0, the P is 1, the D is 2, the F is 3. But you'll need to know to add it to the first number. This is the first quantum number. The first quantum number is the number we see here. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. That's the first quantum number. That's the principal quantum number. That's the N. The sublevel, they don't give you the number. They give you the letter, but you need to know the number that's associated with it. Once again, ties go to the lower end. So the 3D has an energy of 5. So does the 4P. So does the 5S. But a 3 is lower than a 4. A 4 is lower than a 5. So that's the order of Aufbau. What about the Pauli exclusion principle? What about the Pauli exclusion principle? The Pauli exclusion principle just says that every electron in an atom has its own unique set of quantum numbers. In other words, two electrons cannot have the same quantum numbers. Why is this? Well, if they have the first number the same, they're on the same sublevel, or they're on the same energy level. If their second number is the same, they're in the same sublevel. If their third number is the same, they're in the same orbital. But remember that electrons are spinning, and that spinning gives a rise to a mini magnetic field. What happens is two electrons in the same orbital have to have different spins. So the fourth number, if the electrons are on the same level, same sublevel, same orbital, they'll have different spins. So what it says is 2 electrons in the same orbital have to have their last number different. The third rule we are looking at is Hund's rule, and there's 2 parts to Hund's rule. It just says that when we have a sublevel that has multiple orbitals, such as the p, the d, and the f, the p is made up of 3 orbitals, the d is made up of 5 orbitals, the f is made up of 7 orbitals. What it says is this: each orbital will have 1 electron in it before we begin pairing electrons up. Why would that be? Like, why would an electron be in each of the p's before they double them up? Here's our 3p orbitals. What Hund's rule says is an electron will be in the px, and then the next electron will be in the py, the third electron would be in the pz before 2 go in here. So electrons do not get paired up till each orbital of the sublevels that have more than 1 orbital have 1 in them. And think about it, just makes sense. Electrons are negative. So if I have an electron here and there's an opening here, and another electron is here, negative, negative repel. So each of the orbitals get 1 before they double up. That's the first part of Hund's rule. There are 2 parts to Hund's rules, though. The second part of Hund's rule says that unpaired electrons, in other words, orbitals that only have 1 electron in them, sometimes called lone electrons, they will all spin the same way. So if this electron has 1, or if this orbital has 1 electron, this orbital has 1 electron, this orbital has 1 electron, they will all spin the same way. Why is that? They create little mini magnetic fields. So they line up in that magnetic field. They make each other spin the same way. That's the second part of Hund's rule. So as we're moving through the notes here, today we are going to focus on the first of the 4 ways of doing it. It's orbital notations. Remember, in orbital notations, we don't actually draw pictures of the orbitals. We're going to have a box or a line represent it. And then we're going to do arrows for electrons. An arrow up represents the electron that's spinning, generally they say clockwise. An arrow going down is an arrow that would spin counterclockwise. That's just generally the way they assign the spins. So the arrow going up would have a plus half spin. The arrow that's pointing down is talking about the electron that would have the minus half spin. Remember that in each orbital can only hold 2 electrons. So if we have 2 electrons in an orbital, one arrow would be going up and the other arrow would be going down, according to the Pauli exclusion principle. If both arrows were going up, they would have the same set of quantum numbers. Pauli says that 2 electrons in the same orbital have to have opposite spins, or else they would have the same set of quantum numbers. Arrow up would be for the first electron, arrow down would be for the second electron. And once again, we want to fill this according to Aufbau, the lowest energy levels first. When we do orbital notations, you will sometimes see them drawing the boxes for the orbitals. The first level only has 1 sublevel, the s, and the s only has 1 orbital. So there's our box. The second level has 1 orbital. Boom. The 2s, the second level, the 2s has 1 orbital. The s always has 1 orbital. So the 2s would be the next energy. Then the 2p. The 2p has 3 orbitals. The p has 3 orbitals. There's the 2p sublevel. So this is the p sublevel, made up of 3 orbitals. This is the 2s sublevel, made up of 1 orbital. So the 1s is filled first, then the 2s, then the 2p, then the 3s would get filled next. When this one has 2 electrons, then they would go on and fill the 3p. Remember, the third level also has the d, but we learned just a few seconds ago that the 4s gets filled before the 3d. So 2 electrons would go in the 4s, 1 arrow up, 1 arrow down, before we would start filling the 3d. We would continue on up. We saw earlier that the 4p was next, then the 5s. All 3 of these sub-level, energy level, sub-level combinations add up to 5. When you're in the D, your second number was 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. When you're in the P, your second number was 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. When you were in the S, your second number is 0. 5 plus 0 is 5. So they all have an energy of 5. But the tiebreaker was the first number. So we'd go 4S to 3D. 3D is lower than 4. Then we'd go to the 4P. The 4 is lower than 5. Then we'd go to the 5S, 4D, 5P, etc., etc. Aufbau says we building up. We build from the bottom up. Now, they do not generally write out an orbital notation from this way. Very often, they will line up and do all this in the line. So they'll do the 1S, then they'll move the 2S next, then the 2P down here, then the 3S down here, then the 3P down here, and they'll go increasing energy left to right instead of bottom to top. Why would they do that? To save space. The whole purpose of doing that way would be to save space. So instead of having the 2S up here, and then the 2P, and then the 3S, etc., they'll often go left to right. What you do need to do is label underneath each of these sublevels what energy level it is and what sublevel it is. So we would write 1S under this box, 2S under this box, 2P, 3S, 3P. Remember, these 3 boxes represent the 3 orbitals that make up the P sublevel. That's how we would see it left to right. Then above each of these boxes, you would write the third quantum number for this class. So underneath, you're really writing the first quantum number and the sublevel that goes with it. So the 1S. I know when I'm in the S that my second number is a 0. So this is really writing a 1, 0. But instead of writing the 1, 0, they put this letter in so that it is easier to read. When you're in the S, the third number is always a 0, because you remember the third number is minus the second number to positive the second number. So if you're in an S, your second number is a 0. So you would put a 0 above this box for the third number. We would put a 0 above this box. Now, when we have 3 boxes, the middle box is always a 0. The middle orbital is always a 0. The first one, and then you just number like a number line. This is a 0. Then we put a -1 above this box and a 1 above this box. Where do I get the -1, 0, 1? That's the third number. The third number depends on the second number. So when we're in the 2P, when you're in the P, your second number is a 1. So it's a -1 to a +1, meaning the middle box will be a 0. It'll look something like this. Right here. The third number is the ML. You put the ML right above the boxes right here. So you already have, when you do an orbital notation, you're actually writing out 3 of the quantum numbers. First quantum number, N, is this number right here, the 1. The second quantum number comes from being in the S. When you're in the S, you know your second number is a 0. If the second number is a 0, your third quantum number, your magnetic quantum number, M sub L, is a 0. Where do I get my fourth quantum number? It's the spin quantum number. Arrow ups plus half spin, arrow downs minus half spin. In our next video, we're going to talk about how you can get the quantum numbers from looking at an orbital notation. And then we'll take a look at examples doing orbital notation.